What's up, everybody? You are watching, you are listening to the Matt Madness Wrestling Podcast on YouTube. I'm your host for tonight, Alo Aaron Lloyd. I'm joined with my guy, X2 Fly, Eric Trembicki. How you doing, baby?
Doing great, man. Doing great.
Nice. We're nice and early.
Yeah, this is rare. This is different.
I was on time, so that's always new. So
we're recording hours earlier than normal. You're
yes,
earlier for the earlier show. It's a whole new world.
Yes. So, as always, subscribe on all podcast platforms, iTunes, Google Play, and Podbean. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. Turn on your post notifications. Like, subscribe, comment, and Ringside Collectibles. Use code MMAN and save 10% off your orders. So we have a busy weekend upon us, starting tomorrow, Friday actually with SmackDown, and then we have the King and Queen in the Ring and Double or Nothing. So a lot to kind of get into. A lot too, but not really, because I forgot Dynasty even happened, so there's not a bunch of build going on. It's kind of like some of the King and Queen in the Ring. It's just like, okay, there's stuff there, but it's not as much as we would be accustomed to. But before we get into that, I watched something that was completely intriguing to me. I'm not sure if you even knew about this yourself. So this past week, I watched the Dark Side of the Ring Black Saturday episode.
I knew the episode was coming out, but I haven't really seen much of this season at all.
Yeah, so the Black Saturday episode, I happened to stumble across it on TikTok, and I was like today years old when I heard about that story.
Oh, you didn't? Yeah, you didn't know about the whole Black
Saturday? I didn't know about that whole thing at all, because the clip that I stumbled upon, it was
because you've always been Vince brainwashed. You brainwashed by Vince, by Diddy. Who's next?
We'll get to Diddy. So like I stumbled across on TikTok like the last minute of it, because they were talking about how when Vince came back and he came back to WWE and sold it to Endeavor. So I was like, they did an episode on Vince. So then when I found it, I'm like, okay, this is about something else, and I had no idea that this actually went on. I was like shocked. Like the entire episode, I was just like all ears. I couldn't believe it. I was like, okay, so this is how all this actually happened. But it was a really, really good episode. Like the Briscoes were involved. Like even the way he split from the NWA. Vince is all about business, and he might be nasty, but he is business 101, and you can never take that part away from him, because that was excellent that he had that vision that far ahead over everybody else. And they talked about that the way they kind of got Crockett and the wrestling company back then. Vince used what he learned from that situation in the whole Endeavor thing. And I talked about what happened when Vince came back a couple year or so ago, how that was like the most gangster shit you could actually kind of do. It's like, wait, I owe 80%. You know what? No, I'm gonna come back and I'm selling this shit, and I'm gonna get a higher pay, and I'm gonna get a permanent job on the board. Like
Vince being Vince.
Perfect. Like straight up, was like, straight up perfect. But really good episode. That's the only thing I really watched this week that wasn't related to the weekly television show. Did you get anything?
No, nothing out of the ordinary. Just busy normal shenanigans. I haven't really been able to squeeze much in. Actually, I didn't even watch this week's episode of Raw. Just been kind of me being me.
So where you want to start? You want to start in New York or Jacksonville?
Let's start in New York, because that's coming first on Saturday.
All right. So Saturday at King and Queen in the Ring, the Saudi's favorite wrestler, apparently, Logan Paul, is challenging Cody Rhodes for the Undisputed Championship. I did find it funny how WWE put up a poll before the match was official, quote unquote official, of what title would you want more, the U.S. title or the WWE Championship, which I thought was really funny. But not a lot of build here, but I do like that Logan Paul is like, I'm not signing that contract to put my U.S. title on the line, so I did like that aspect of it. But like I said at the top of the show, quick builds to everything, because it's a quick turnaround from the last pay-per-view would it being Backlash. So who do you got?
Cousin Cody.
I agree, Cody it is. Now, we also have the IC title on the line. It's going to be a triple threat match with Sami Zayn, Bronson Reed, and Chad Gable. Now, I'm enjoying this.
Same.
with the whole thing with Chad Gable, because like he's like kind of shunning the current Alpha Academy, and then he's kind of befriending the Creed brothers and Ivy Nile. So a combination of Chad Gable with the Creed brothers, I think it'll be really good because all three legit shooters, which I really would enjoy. And we all know Bronson Reed's pretty much here to just take the pin, but Chad Gable will be a future IC champion. It's just not going to be here. I think Sami Zayn retains the IC title here.
I can see this going a couple different ways because it's kind of classic, and obviously we're I'm saying this as we're going, but we typically, we both gave that quick prediction for the Cody Logan match. Like I didn't really see especially after Cody just won this title, and Logan having the U.S. title for 220 days and only defending it twice. I didn't see the titles being somebody holding both of them at the same time. Definitely didn't see Logan winning the WWE title. I kind of didn't know where Cody would go running with two belts. So I wasn't really surprised about the storyline. And then this is really just to give a match. This is really Saudi booking 101. However, we usually do get at these Saudi shows, there's usually like one title that does get changed. It's typically a tag title or something. So I wouldn't be surprised if the IC title did change here. I could see Chad winning. I'm gonna go with the prediction, and I'm gonna predict Chad Gable winning his first IC title. But if not, I think we got a really good match, and it's just gonna help strengthen Sammy's reign if he were to win.
Yep. Yeah, but I'm looking forward to the solo Sammy Chad thing, and we'll get to the next thing where I think we're gonna get the title change. Is Liv Morgan challenging Becky Lynch for the women's world title? I want to say right now, I like Liv Morgan. I think she's fine in the ring. I think she's grown a lot over the past years, but that promo was god awful.
Was it from this week?
Yeah, it was terrible. It was god awful. But I do think that it is her time. I think the revenge tour is going to start here, and she's finally going to get the women's title, and Becky finally gets that time off that she was supposed to take with Seth. So I'm going with Liv Morgan to win the women's title.
I can see that happening as well. Does Dom help her win it?
No, I don't think this is all her. I think this is actually when she actually finally, quote unquote, goes full heel, because it's not actually full heel yet. I think she'll like do anything she has to do to win, because I talked about this in the previous few months. Every time she was right there, she fell short. And at this point, I think she's going to be desperate, and we're finally going to get that full heel turn out of her, and she's going to cheat to win the women's title at the king and queen of the ring. So I do think Liv Morgan is going to finally get her just due and finally win the women's title.
I can see it happening. Again, I don't wouldn't mind seeing Becky go away. So, I'll go with the Liv Morgan prediction as well.
All right, now the bracket got interesting over the past week. So what I predicted happened, which was Jay got disqualified. Good way to do it. Even got her daughter
involved. Disqualified again since I didn't see the match.
Her and Nia got physical, and she hit Nia with a chair.
Oh, I'm sorry, Jade. My apologies. I was thinking you said Jay. Continue.
Oh no, Jade. Yeah, Jade. Yeah, so Jay got disqualified in her match with Nia, and that kind of I was like, okay, here. And then on Raw when Lyra won, I was like, okay, I kind of see what they might be going here. And we have Nia versus Bianca on SmackDown on Friday, and I think somehow, some way, Nia wins. I think Nia goes on to beat Lyra, and I think Nia's going to end up being the queen of the ring, because I don't think both competitors are going to be on, both king and queens are going to be on the same show. And for her character, I think Nia would be actually really perfect, because she's not really going to have a bunch of stuff going on. And this is something that she can kind of like sink her teeth into and be really good for her character development.
Especially
so
she hasn't really won nothing. She hasn't won nothing that mattered since she's been back. So
yeah, and she's been really good since she's been back. And I think they're going to give her this, and I think she's going to end up being the Queen of the Ring. So my pick is Nia to win Queen of the Ring.
I'll second that again. I could see Nia definitely taking it the whole way.
And we have the semifinal match on SmackDown. We got Randy Orton against Tama Tonga. I think it's clear to say that Randy Orton's going to win. And Randy Orton versus Gunther, sign me up. I can't wait to see that match.
Should be good. It's Saudi should love a match like that.
But I think we'll be on the same page here. We think this. We said this a couple weeks ago when this tournament was first announced. This is set up for Gunther to win.
Yeah,
and I don't think Gunther's going to be the quote unquote carry around the king gimmick, but he will. How we basically said it was like Austin and Edge and Brock. Take it seriously, but he's not going to have the whole king gimmick or walk around with the crown or whatever, because it's all business. And this is basically to propel him to something new headed into the summer, which is probably in some kind of world championship scene.
I'll tell you what, though, with his entrance coat, I could see him get like switching to like the cape kind of. It's kind of similar entrance gear in a way.
Uh-huh.
I wouldn't be too surprised if he did go with it and maybe like a different style crown than normal, but only time will tell.
All right, so that was quick for Saturday's show.
That's what she said.
Now we have Double or Nothing on Sunday, which the card is stacked. From when I saw, I was like, "Wow, this is actually really a stacked card." I'm really interested to watch this. So I guess we'll start with what we went viral over. Mercedes, I guess it's Mercedes Money now, is challenging Willow Nightingale for the TBS Championship. Now, I'm not sure if we talked about it on the show or off air, but I think her last 2 weeks, her being Mercedes, were good.
Yeah, and not just that. Neither of us, I think, watched. I think you said you might have saw highlights of it while we were doing the show last week.
Yes, that's what I said. You texted me.
I thought her segment was actually really good.
Yeah. So the interview the week prior for Backstage, I thought was good because she can handle that. And then last week with the contract sign, I thought was good because there was actually some build. There was some substance to it. And it was on topic. It was nothing ridiculous. It wasn't her just coming out flaunting looking terrible. Even though the last 2 weeks has been peak Mercedes Money. So who do you got in this match?
Easy. They're advertising this, which is a little annoying. They're saying it's a triple main event. And they got TBS Championship advertising.
Like WWE?
They got the TBS. This is the most notable match the TBS title is ever having. Obviously, they're not going to have Mercedes lose her first AEW match. She was supposed to beat Willow a year ago for the New Japan belt. She's going to win this AEW TBS title. It's going to be huge. So Mercedes is going to win. Yeah,
I agree. And also in her promo when she was talking about the kind of star she is, because she has basically been all over Turner Network, Turner TV. Throughout the first pitch, she's constantly at Celtics games, etc. So she's all over. And that added so much to her promo. So I think Mercedes wins as well, and we'll see how the match goes because we're not taking anything away from her from an in-ring perspective. It's just what she did up to 2 weeks ago was just not good. So I am looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to how everything goes. You have to think that she's going to pretty much be full-blown heel at this point because nobody's going to boo Willow. Everybody loves Willow. Nobody's going to boo Willow. So I'm looking forward to see how this match actually plays out. It's at the top of my anticipation list. So I'm going with Mercedes to win that match.
Yeah, I think it's a no-brainer.
All right, we got Roderick Strong and Will Ospreay for the International Championship. What do you got?
I love you're going to be making these mid-card titles matter. Putting on Will Ospreay, I'm shocked I'm not hearing more people cry about it because people wanted him kind of like lunge right into that AEW World Title picture. Will Ospreay is going to win. The Undisputed Kingdom, they jumped him after their tag match tonight, and he was, left a bloody mess in the ring. So he's going to get the win. The only way I see him not winning, but I don't see this happening, is for some reason if this is when Don Callis finally turns on him, but I don't see that happening. Yeah,
I think Will Ospreay ends up winning here. So that's my pick as well. Something I'm looking forward to as well, as always, is timeless Tony Storm. She's going to defend against Serena Deeb. I'm really looking forward to this match. Who do you got?
Man, I love Serena, always have. I'd like to see her win. Tony Storm's one of the best characters in AEW and all of wrestling at the moment. I'd almost like to see. I hate the term like transitional champion, almost like a flip flop. Like I'd love Serena to win this and like have, even if it was like a month or two, run with it and then it go back to Tony. I just really like, she's getting up there in age. I'd love to see her get that rub. It was dope seeing her with the NWA women's title several years back in AEW. I'd like to see her get this win, but I'm gonna go with Tony. I can't see her losing, but if she were to lose to Serena, I wouldn't be mad just because I'm a fan.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with timeless Tony Storm as well. The TNT titles on the line. Adam Copeland, that young upstart, defending against Malachi Black in a barbed wire steel cage match. This is something I'm really looking forward to as well.
Yeah, I mean, steel cage always cool. Barbed wire wrapped in it. Edge has always been good in these gimmick matches.
Who?
Cope, which I think is what he wants to be referred to now. I'm going to go with my prediction, especially when I saw that he was running the gauntlet against the whole faction. I guess you have like the idea here that like, Adam Copeland could retain because the rest of the House of Black are going to be, banned from the ring by the cage. However, I think this is Malachi finally 4 years later really getting the rub that he's deserved in AEW and finally getting some singles gold. I look forward to Malachi Black winning this match.
Yeah, I think Malachi's going to win as well. I really do. Getting ready for this match, I enjoy watching the build towards it. Like you said, him running the gauntlet through the entire faction, and Malachi finally getting his just due from a singles competitor. He's been there for a long time. He really has. And then he had that short time off from the company. But I think he's finally going to get his singles title here, and he's going to win the TNT title.
It's one of the, it's not a long plethora list, definitely single digits of people that clean beat Cody. And he was, one of the first to do that, really, outside of Brody.
And we have an eliminator match for the IWGP title, Moxley and Takeshita.
Eliminator match on a pay-per-view. So stupid. Also, like, Mox, I get it. He's he's the IWGP world champion, but we're not seeing that belt defended on the pay-per-view. Mox should be in the Anarchy in the arena match. It makes no sense that he's not. You got one of his tag partners in the match, and it really annoys the hell out of me how like Brian is always kind of in between, like playing this like face role while everybody else in the BCC is a heel. The inconsistency of that is super annoying. But yeah, I eliminator match. I guess Takeshita gets a win, and then he's gonna lose for the belt, or it doesn't make sense. He's not gonna go over twice on Mox. I don't know. This is a puzzling match to me.
Yeah, I'm not sure on this one. I guess I'll go with Takeshita just for the fun of it, because I'm not quite sure. There was a reason why this is an eliminated match, but I don't remember exactly why. So we'll have to wait and see.
I don't either. Whatever reason is, I'm sure it ain't good. Will Hobbs got a match for the IWGP title on an episode of Dynamite. Makes no sense.
Best friends collide. Trent Beretta and Orange Cassidy. Thoughts?
I'm loving this new run for Trent. Trent did get the best over Orange and was making him submit on the stage after the match. But I still see him going over. Orange necessarily doesn't need the win. And if Trent's now going to be a single star, he could use all the good wins he could get.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Trent as well. Because you got to kind of validate that heel turn. And Orange Cassidy, one of the most popular people in the company, so you have to go with him. Now, the Learning Tree is defending the FTW title. Is there a series going on that I'm not aware of?
No, I can't remember if it was tonight or not. Or is he defending against Hook? I assume.
It says from what I have in my notes, it's just an FTW Contender Series winner.
Yeah, no. I think there's a fatal four way maybe tonight on Dynamite.
Okay.
There's either episode of Collision or it must be tonight. I think there's a fatal four way, and the matches. I'm gonna assume it's gonna have to be Hook challenging again, but I'm not really sure.
Okay, so if it's Hook wins.
Hook wins, becomes a 3-time FTW champion. I mean, I could see it, but at the same time, I could almost see like Jericho holding this thing a little longer. I love Jericho. I'm never gonna ask him to please retire. However, the learning tree, I think it's got to be one of the stupidest gimmicks ever.
That's not gonna work for me, brother.
I do pop for like the whole like I'm a heel, so I'm gonna be over the top. Like I'm actually a good guy. Like I actually do enjoy that.
All right, now we have Anarchy in the arena. We got the Elite, Okada, Jack Perry in the Bucks taking on Team AEW, Bryan Danielson, FTR, and the returning Darby Allin. The Elite has to win here.
Yes, they need it. It's important for Okada, and three of these four are champions. It's important for Jack to get a singles win. I not only see them winning, I see Jack getting the pinfall or making someone surrender.
I think it would be cool for Jack to get the pinfall because he's the returning one of the group. They really have to win here because they kind of got to validate like that they're in charge.
Yeah.
Here, so I wonder what music's gonna be playing the entire time because I think this is the first one without the BCC.
Well, I mean, it's the first one without Moxley. I mean, we do have a member of the BCC. Yeah, I think without Moxley, it doesn't happen. Like the music going.
Because that was like an entertaining part of it for me. All the nonsense going on, and the music. It was like a bad music video.
I think it would be stupid. I won't like it if it's someone else's music gets that going.
Yeah. Now I'm not sure the world title main events, but we got Swerve defending against Christian Cage. And when I was doing my homework on this, I was like smiling ear to ear. Like Christian can do no wrong in my book. He can't. This entire thing has been really good, in my opinion. I know Christian's not going to win, but the whole thing with Swerve he's got a little thing on the side with the EVPs. So if the world title is a main event, this one is definitely going to be a focus of the EVPs in the next upcoming months, and that's why I'm actually interested in to see Swerve kind of be the foil in the Bucks and the Bucks in the Elites on the Elite side, because I think this will be really interesting because there's so many possibilities, especially like with a return to Hangman as we talked about, because they still have things that they have to finish storyline wise. So who do you got?
That's actually funny because I almost said this with the Anarchy in Arena. Like when you were like, yeah, we both agreed that like to see Jack get the win. I was like, you know what? In my head, I could almost like see somebody debuting with the Elite. Again, Kenny was fired from the Elite. Hangman was suspended. So I could see Hangman returning and helping them and being the fifth member in the Elite. I'm going to go. I mean, and I could almost see like Jack getting a first like challenge for the belt, give him like a main event picture. But yeah, I see Swerve retaining. Christian doesn't need it.
Yeah, but even the things that they brought back up, like when they talked about how him and Swerve teamed up at All In last year, and
stuff like you forget.
Yeah, and even when he beat up Nick Wayne, and the fact that he's like refers to him as his son, like you beat up my son, and stuff like that. Like I think it's really good. And Christian, just the way he carries himself, like the entrance with all the things that he calls himself always pops me. And I'm enjoying his runner. This might be the run of Christian's life.
I mean, you could easily argue he's done his best work in AEW.
Yeah, no doubt. Absolutely. Because this whole father thing has been fantastic. It really
two singles title reigns. I'd actually, I guess, multiple. Never mind. Multi-time TNT champion.
TNT, and then the Impact World Champion
Don't forget it.
as well during that time.
First episode of Collision.
Was it?
I'm sorry, not Collision. Rampage.
Okay. It was Rampage. I was like, I don't think Collision happened yet.
Yeah. So many TV shows. Mix them up.
Yeah, so we ran through that card quick. We're only 25 minutes in.
Yeah,
you got anything for me before we sign out?
I'm looking forward to, obviously, with the Saudi show. It's going to be what, during the daytime Saturday, like normal.
Mm-hmm.
So there'll be that. Double or Nothing. I think there's been like 2 or 3 AEW pay-per-views I did not watch live. And I don't think any of them has been a Double or Nothing, but I feel maybe one has. But I do feel like there's an outside chance this year I may not be watching live. So we shall see. I mean, I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking more forward to Double or Nothing than the Saudi show, obviously. Actually, I'm actually curious to hear your thought on this. I was going to almost bring up a take from Busted Open that Dave LaGreca had about Mercedes Moné and what he would like her to do with the TBS title. But rather than bringing that up, I didn't get to finish listening to today's episode. But, with Double or Nothing this week, obviously AEW has been around for over 5 years, but this show is going to be the 5-year anniversary, the first show being Double or Nothing 2019. Overall, obviously the last 2 years hasn't been their stronger years. You could argue the first 2 years were their best. If you had to grade AEW's first 5 years as a company, if you want to give them a letter grade, score 1 through 5, 1 through 10, 1 through 10, or a letter grade, what would you grade the company in its totality?
I don't want to give like a. I would give a letter grade, and I'm flirting at a B-C. I'm not. What was his take?
Well, it was all over. I think Dave gave it a B+. I think Bubba Ray gave it like a. It's actually funny. I think he gave it a B-, and almost the most surprising. I think Dreamer gave it like a 75, 77, somewhere like a C+.
That's about a C. Range.
Yeah. So where in a way I would feel like Tommy would have gave it a better rating than Bubba did. Bubba really, I think, was leaning on his whole thing. It was basically, he's like, I'm not going to grade off his booking or my opinions or things I don't like. But he said a big part of his was perception of what the company's done, or also obviously the company's helped the business and hold more jobs, this and that. But it did bring back a lot of casual fans. It did bring back lapsed fans. There were people that just said, I used to watch WCW and that went out of business. I stopped watching wrestling. And a lot of those people became AEW fans or got back into wrestling. I think myself, I would give it a B, maybe a B+. I think I'm probably rate it like a 85, 86. Again, when you just factor everything in, again, we're talking 5 years. TNA Impact has been around what now? 20 years, 25 years?
25, 22.
22. So 22 years. And we easily can say in a short 5 years, AEW's, I feel like the perception is there that is obviously more of a competition, more of a well-known alternative. It in a short amount of time has reached way more success. Obviously that company's been around for a long time, and they've video games have came and went, action figure deals have came and went, all types of different deals. But in this 5 years, I know I'm not a gamer, but AEW does have their first video game out. Well, first console video game. They already had one on an app. They have you could argue a successful, action figure line. It was touted as a t-shirt company, and for first five months in its existence, because all they did was print and sell t-shirts. But Shop AEW is a thriving business where they do sell a lot of shirts. They, three TV shows weekly on cable TV. Quickly went from a big 4 pay-per-views to now they're going to be doing close between 9 to 10 pay-per-views per year. Yeah, I got to give it somewhere in the B, and I think obviously I'm a little biased. I've always been a fan of the company, so I got to lean that way. And again, I do say, the past 2 years, I don't think it's been a strong point, but we're previewing a pay-per-view, and no matter how silly the booking can be at times, or like how, like, I'll get done an episode of Dynamite and go, man, I remember used to loving this, and like now it's like, yeah, I might miss a week or whatever, but the pay-per-views always deliver. So when you have 4 shows that always deliver, now we're getting 10, and the pay-per-views always deliver. I still got to I got to give them a good rating off of that.
Do you remember Dreamer, his perspective on his rating?
Oh, Dreamer, I believe he quoted he was in like a C, high C.
No, I know, but his thoughts on why he gave the C.
I'm trying to remember. I feel like he was short. Again, I was tired. This was running around after getting teen from school. I honestly can't remember the exact reasons on his. Yeah, I can't remember specifics off of his details on his. I think his was a short-winded answer.
Okay, because like they have done good, and I've said they've done good. It's just like when it came to certain things, there was like a bias where it's like, look, if WWE did this shit or they did it and you hated it, and when they do it, you like it, and like we talked about this on the show a lot of times. You could forgive in the beginning, but when you keep doing it, you can't forgive.
Yeah,
it's like,
for sure.
It's like, all right, come on, you keep doing this shit. Now, as far as like I said, they've done a lot of good things. They've had great matches.
Sure.
I believe 3 out of the last 4 years, my match of the year was an AEW match. I'm almost positive about that.
Okay.
The 1 year we didn't do a Maddie's was 2020, and my match of the year that year was a tag match from Revolution. Personally,
Bucks, Hangman, and Kenny.
Yeah, that was my match of the year. So they've done a lot of good. They've done a lot of good things, but also like as far as like the business side, there's a lot of like you hear the stuff about Tony and what the hell's going on backstage and the power struggle and stuff like that. But as far as like the actual television show, they've done a lot of good things, and I can't argue that they haven't. What do you think the best pay-per-view has been? Man. I know it's hard to remember now because it's so much, but with them, it might be a little easier.
Wow, that's a great question. Man, I do feel like the first 3 years, like I felt like you could get done a show and be like, man, this might have been the best one, or like, all right, this like last one was good, but this was better, and man, I'm trying to think, and I might have the years wrong. Do you have yours before I answer mine?
Yeah, I think, God, because like with me, it's a blur too. But I believe it was Revolution when Bryan and MJF fought.
I believe so. Yes.
22.
I'm guessing.
3.
23. Okay. I guess it would have been. All right, I'm gonna go I'm gonna rattle off 3, and then I'm gonna try to narrow it down. It's all right. So first, I'm gonna say, was it All Out 2021? That's Punk and Darby, right?
That was yes.
Man, like the feels off of that. That was really good. I don't know if like everything else from the card lives up. I also got to feel like the Pillars Fatal 4-Way match, arguably the greatest Fatal 4-Way match of all time.
That show was terrible. I remember reviewing that show. He was like, "This show sucked." The match was great. We gave that match high praise, but we was like, that show wasn't it.
All right. This is what first came in my head. So I wanted to rattle like 3 off, but I'm just going to go with my gut. Double or Nothing 2019.
Good show.
There,
Good starter stuff.
Here's the easy argument. All right, and I can see a lot of people would argue this. The only thing I think that would maybe compare would be ECW Barely Legal. Like, I feel like if you go off of every company's first pay-per-view, none's as good. Like,
No.
Yeah, they have like, there are some people on the card like what's his name, Jimmy Havoc's no longer with the company, but I think he was on an opening match. Britt Baker was the baby face in a match, I believe. It was a part of her like short baby face run in the infancy of the company. But Jericho versus Hangman. Jericho, this is like peak loving him. He's a heel, the Hulk Hogan of the company. And it's funny because we were saying that in 2019. Now we're saying it for completely different reasons. But like, having this match, and in hindsight, it was the right person to win. You got this guy with this name value. You have the great, the great promo after the match. You have Jon Moxley debuting with the company, and just like think of the highs and lows with him. Like I was gonna say it when we were giving our prediction of him versus Takeshita, but like I'm already thinking like what he's gonna do this year, especially it being an eliminator match, not for the title. This is like the most insignificant thing he's ever done at Double or Nothing, because like his debut, chills, think about it forever. Jim Ross's call, him coming through the crowd, it was badass. It was an awesome debut. Arguably, and is debated that like still to this day, it's the greatest AEW match. Brother versus brother, Cody versus Dustin. Ladder match, Bucks versus the Lucha Brothers. And then where the hell was Kenny on the card?
Kenny main evented because that's when Mox debuted after.
Oh yeah, never mind. Why would I say Hangman? I said
Hangman didn't face Jericho that night. Hangman had like a promo.
Yeah, because Kenny, because Moxley and Kenny went. Okay, cool. So did Hangman have a match?
No. Bret Hart came out to introduce the title, and I believe Hangman came out, and that's when MJF came out too.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. Kenny versus Jericho rematch from Tokyo Dome. Even more, I definitely, I was a little all over the place with that. But 2019 Double or Nothing, I still think it's the best show. And they've had more good pay-per-views than bad.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Definitely agree on that one. Cause I think when it comes to their best matches, as far as like my top 5, is the Iron Man match that I talked about with Bryan and MJF, Punk and MJF in the chain match, or the bull rope match, whichever one it was, the cage match for the tag titles, Dustin, Cody. And I think I need one more. That was like trying to remember what other one I was. Oh, and that tag match from Revolution with the Bucks.
And
Kenny
a lot of fun. Like I just talked about that ladder match, but like, what about the cage match of the Lucha Brothers versus the Bucks?
Yeah, I just said that. Mm-hmm.
Oh, my apologies. Yeah. So
yeah. That was one of my matches. That was our match of the year.
Yeah. So many good stuff. With the company and all. And I mentioned it by bringing up Darby and Punk. You just brought it up, the chain match. The feud with Kingston was awesome. Like, I know we're enjoying what he's doing right now in WWE, and I know between Brawl Out, choking Jack Perry, et cetera, the injuries, but like, we can never forget AEW is what brought CM Punk back to wrestling. Another reason, in like where my B+ has to, overall for the company. Also giving Sting one of the greatest retirement angles, matches of all time.
Yeah, good. Yeah, I still can't get over that Sting match because that match was fucking awesome.
Yeah, so
and the thing with Punk was interesting with that interview during WrestleMania with Ariel Helwani. He actually flirted with WWE a few times about coming back, which I found was very interesting. He said that in an interview. So he said it almost happened a few times.
Yeah.
But it eventually just ended up being AEW. So we'll never know about that situation. But props to AEW for bringing him back.
Yeah. And like I just mentioned, like obviously there were some bad things, but like, and he even brought it up. Like he said, he's like, I'm not upset with going there because he's like, I got to wrestle with Sting. Like he's like, that wasn't even on the bucket list. Like I never even knew that was like a possibility. Like think about it, because like Punk had already left WWE by the time Sting had his short run in WWE. We did get a world like it's always there in the history books. When we look at Big Platinum, we look at the AEW World Title, the history of it. CM Punk is a former AEW World Champion. The stuff he did with obviously we didn't get enough of it on Collision, but like obviously we know he made a lot of good friends there. We got the fun run of CM FTR, him wearing the Sting face paint. And a lot of great promos, whether it be the battles with Kingston, whether it be the stuff with MJF, a lot of good stuff.
Yeah, for sure. Absolutely. Can't like they've done a lot of good, and we can't take that. We're not going to take that away from them. They've done a really good job on certain things, and can't take away the good. Anything else, buddy?
Before we wrap up, I'm interested in hearing, I guess, with the glowing reviews we just gave the company. Got 2 shows. They're not going head to head. Got a Saturday show, got a Sunday show. Next week when we're back here reviewing the both of them, your prediction: who puts on a better show?
Oh, Double Nothing.
Okay. This is another time tonight we agree.
Yeah, because like WWE, like I think it'll be a good show, but the one thing about this card, because it is in Saudi, that's not like a really rowdy crowd. And also we kind of have like the predictability factor, even though predictability to me is not a bad thing because we all watch movies and know what the fuck's going to happen at the end for the most part. But I think there's a lot of more intrigue in the Double or Nothing card. Like we got the debut of Mercedes. We have the barbed wire cage match. We have the Anarchy in the Arena, which is always just a mess, a fun mess. So there's a lot more intrigue to see what's going to happen there than it's going to happen at King and Queen in the Ring. So yeah, I believe we'll come in here, say Double or Nothing was the better show. I don't know if I'll give it a higher rating, but I do think that Double or Nothing will probably be the better show.
Yeah, and obviously really like the storylines are probably going to advance more, but we'll see. And we'll be back in 1 week's time to review it all.
Yeah. All right, guys. So as always, subscribe on the podcast platforms and subscribe to this YouTube channel. Also, turn on your post notifications. I'm Alo Aaron Lloyd. That's my guy, X2 Fly Eric Trembicki. We will see you guys soon.